Okay, well, so hello everybody, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. It's kind of funny, my two-thirds of my crew just showed up. Funny. Anyway, yeah, what am I? Oh, yeah. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. Well, in the old days, they used to call me on the phone, back when you had a call-in show, back when people liked talking on the phone, you know, they called me all the time. Back in the 90s, you know, and they asked me questions, you know, like, hey, man, what's your show about? And I say, well, it's about an hour. About guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the drill, man. If you want to ask a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, I guess you can tweet me or whatever. But you know, we talk about other subjects like you know, the guitarron, the guitarra, sitar, lutes, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos. Did I say chitole already? I don't even know, man. I say this every week. Lutes, vihuelas, okay. Banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, tiples, cavaquinhos, bajos, sextos, bajos, cincos. Boy, I'm really losing that. The banjos, balalaikas, bazookies. I think I've already said that. Okay, trombones, trombomarinas, clarinets, clavinets, harmoniums, harmonicas, and harpsichords, pipe organs and piccolos, crumb horns, quartholts, and cornetos. I'm cool, man. Anything you want to talk about, music would be fine with me, but we try to keep it clean. Oh yeah, politics, world events, personality problems. But this is a family show, so we're going to try to keep it clean. So, got Donna in the Bob seat here. So yeah, she don't have a camera on you, but it's okay. You will eventually, I'm sure. Okay. So anyway, this here is a Guild blues bird. I've had it for a while. I've had it on the show maybe a couple times. So, you know, I have the guitar acquisition syndrome. It's called GAS, and I'm an acquisitive. Now, I've also actually the funny thing is we have some anomalies in the YouTube channel and in the archives on the allthingsguitartom.com website. So some videos were lost and they were recovered. So I looked at some of these videos, the older ones, and I saw myself playing guitars I didn't even remember. And like guitars, like and I was talking about how I traded my sparkly green Ibanez Artcore, sort of like a ES335 electric guitar, with sparkly green, so it was basically invisible on with the green screen. And so I traded it for this new one, and I realized that at the end of the show I took it back because I did say I didn't like it on the show, and I borrowed a Gretsch that I was thinking I'll buy this instead, and I left that one behind. So I guess I've gotten rid of a lot of guitars, and I've gotten a bunch of other ones, but now like. You know, the shops are kind of running out of inventory that's interesting to me. You know, the NAMM show was last week, National Association of Music Merchandisers. So now they're waiting for the new guitars to ship, and the companies who supply them are behind. It's just like nothing new. So I'm thinking, well, man, I keep thinking, well, I'm paying off the one store, and then I'm slowly building up my credit the other one. I was in the pro shop in West Music, and well, to make my short story a little longer, I haven't been able to acquire or even dream about any guitars for a while. I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'm, so I look at old clips of myself and say, you know, when I got that guitar, I was really excited. Like, this one is great. I've had this for some time now, but it's a Guild blues bird, and it's patterned after, it's I think it's made in Korea and the U.S., but it's one of their imports, but it was built this Guild's design. But the inside is kind of hollowed out in places, so it's a lot lighter than it looks. And also it gets a nice resonant sort of tone. Because I kind of want a hollow body jazz guitar, but I don't want to put my arm around a great big elephant, and I don't want to spend like, you know, $10,000. So this thing, you know, relatively cheap guitar, but I think it's beautiful. I would have, I was kind of late getting here. I was thinking about doing something more elaborate, but at home we have a lethal game of cat and mouse going on in the music room. As in, a cat has been chasing a mouse around for a while.
That's not good.
not for the mouse, you know. And so a lot of I feel like tools and things and stuff kind of stuffed under my desk and a toolbox and stuff kind of lying over. All that stuff sort of strewn across the floor because the cat's been digging the mouse out, you know. So I was wondering what's been going on all day because I didn't see anything down there, but the cat was acting strangely. So I was actually trying to get something to eat before I came here, and then I noticed that you know, I turned on a light, so like the bright light, so I could get all my equipment together, and then I noticed that there was a mouse, and the mouse is kind of walking around this way, you know, looking like, wow, I wonder if there's something. It looks like I'm safe now. I'm gonna sniff this this guitar stand here. I wonder if there's anything to eat around here, and the cat's just like watching. So so I left because I didn't want to eat my thing, you know, and you know, and watch that happen. So then I went back in to grab this guitar, and the mouse apparently was hiding in a corner, and cat has plenty of time to wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, see, the cat always brings me like little stuffed toys and things. But lately, this is a couple times already, she's managed to get me a mouse and leave that there on the floor in her usual tribute spot.
How nice.
That's very nice. Well, I don't really want to live with a mouse anyway. But
No.
I wish they'd just go somewhere else. All right, enough of that. All right, so what was I doing during sound check? Oh, yeah. I've been told in the past that my sound checks are more interesting than my shows. Okay, here we go. Leading tone. Huh? That's fun, but I might have bent a note a little bit. Well, let's see. Ah. I think what happened is I took this guitar and I was playing it for a while and everything, and I probably shined it all up and loved it and everything and put new strings on it. And then I started working on another guitar and forgot about it. So there we go. So okay, I'm sorry. I was just watching what the cameraman was doing, Mr. Skopinski, who was on the job. We've got Mr. Skopinski. We got Troy in the control room. We got Donna here filling in for Bob. And if Troy ever wants to come out and share a few words about his lifestyle and endeavors, he's welcome. And Mr. Skopinski's always welcome. So. Just like, you know, if you want to, if anytime you want to switch places with Donna for a little while, just a few minutes anyway, you can. But just let me know. And Mr. Skopinski, you're always welcome, of course, also to be in the Bob seat. But okay, all right, okay. We'll anyway. Yeah. So the camera's on you now. What's going on with you? You got.
Well, okay. So February 10th is Pete Seeger's party up at Uptown Bill's.
Upstairs, yeah.
Yeah, upstairs. And I'm going to play Bring 'Em Home. Mm-hmm. Well, you'll have to help me a little, but Bring 'Em Home and then The Water is Wide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not this Saturday, but the next Saturday at 7 at Uptown Bill's.
Yeah, it's almost February now.
Yeah.
Wow. To quote the poet, Bob Dylan. Time is a jet plane; it moves too fast. Yeah, okay. That sounds like really good.
Yeah, it's fun.
You did Waters Wide a long time ago.
Yeah.
If one's, I mean, I don't know how what they, what if you're going to sing it or what lyrics you'd use, but I found all kinds of alternate lyrics for it. It's also used as a hymn and other things too. But I know there's a one about how my true love proved false to me. I leaned my back against an oak, for I thought it was a trusty tree, but first it bent and then it broke, as my one love or my true love or whatever proved false to me. But there's a whole other set of lyrics
Really?
about how I will always love you no matter what. And when these it's an English thing, they have this like when impossible things happen. When the when cockle shells turn into silver bells, and the sea strand does this and that, and all these other things that are never going to happen.
Right.
That's when I will lose my love for thee. So it goes on like that, you see. And I think I sang a couple of verses of that, the really positive ones, to a couple for their wedding, because normally it wouldn't be a good thing for a wedding, if it's just like I'm really bummed out, love is tender and love is true and love is young and love is new, but love grows cold as it grows old and fades away like the morning dew.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing for a wedding.
I'm going to get tired of you real quick, but let's get married.
Yeah. That's
Well, I have some words picked out, and I think I might photocopy them and give the audience, because it's a sing-along thing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because that's the Pete Seeger. And so that way they can all sing the same verses I sing.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, because, there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
I kind of did one of those research things, when I was a boy, if I had to do a research thing, I had to go to the library and hang around all day, and now I just start with the Google and see where it leads me, and sometimes you can start with Wikipedia and see where that leads you, although sometimes in matters of politics it's not a good idea.
No.
But this Water's Wide. Hang on. I see what's happening. Trying to go back. That's right, indeed. There you go. Yeah. A Guild Bluesbird. It's a nice guitar. It's not a good guitar. It's a great guitar. Anyway. You know, I thought my guitar acquisition syndrome was in remission. I sold a bunch of guitars a while back. We needed the money, and I just gave them up. And then since then, I've been sort of like, I don't know, man. I mean, I've had a lot of people. I know something about Alcoholics Anonymous. I actually played at a Halloween party, and I used to drink some, but I just gave it up because of being a dad and also being in show business and seeing what was happening with my friends. And I didn't have to, I didn't have any problems, not drinking anymore. It wasn't like a problem. I didn't have to go, I didn't have any issues. So I don't. So anyway, but I've had a lot of people who are in Alcoholics Anonymous and other kinds of like 12-step programs who tell me things about how, if you're an alcoholic, you can, or an addict, you can white knuckle yourself and do maybe 4 months of sobriety, and then you fall off the deep end because it's like a brain disease. Now, I may have an issue, but it's not alcohol. You see, it's probably guitars because, there I am. I sell a bunch of guitars, and I kind of like miss them a little bit, I do, but I have other guitars. So there's always got some guitars I can play. And then some time elapses, some months go by, and then all of a sudden, maybe I have an opportunity, I have some minor windfall or some sort of a deal I can work out, and I get another guitar. And that feels really good. So as soon as possible, I get another guitar, you see. So what seems to have happened is that the number of guitars has probably stayed about the same. It got back, probably to the previous numbers, but all the cheap ones that I used to get that I said, well, this is a pretty good guitar for the money. I can fix it up a little bit, and it'll be, it's for as little as I paid for this in a pawn shop. By the way, the pawn shops are like really expensive now. They were cheap a couple of years ago. And because sometimes they have something in there, they didn't seem to know what they had, and I get a really good deal. So anyway, so that's kind of where I am now. So most of my instruments are, a little higher quality. So, I had a pretty good Washburn, and I actually had two kind of good Washburns. It was, and I kind of liked them. I played them on the show, played maybe 1 or 2 gigs with them and stuff. But now I got this thing, which is like, it's just nice. And if I didn't have this on the show, I'd have something else on the show that'd be really nice. You see.
There are worse things to have. At least no one gets harmed with gas.
That's right. I remember one time I got pulled over by the police in my 72 Cadillac, which happened a lot when I had a Chartreuse 72 Cadillac. This was nowhere near 1972. It was much later in history. But so I had a can of like Mendota Springs or LaCroix or something like lemon-flavored bubbly water on the dashboard. I let my buddy Raimundo in his full kind of like, Raimundo Tomas type of garb out, and he went, running off somewhere with his guitar, and then I pulled around the corner, and the police stopped me, and the first thing is I had the shoulder belt didn't work that well in the car, but you only have to wear your lap belt, the seat belt, so I didn't fast because it's such an old car that you had to like click the shoulder harness onto the seat belt, and we had, this is a long time ago, so 20 some years ago, but we'd been playing at the Java House. And I was pretty well tanked up on coffee. And we went to George's Buffet. I had 1 beer. And then, so the police officer stops, shines the light, and wants to see my license and stuff. So I unclip my seatbelt. So, were you wearing a seatbelt? I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he shines the light on my can, and it's seltzer water. He says, you been drinking tonight? I said, I had 1 beer at George's, and the rest of the night, and for hours before that, I was in a coffee house. They're drinking coffee because they tanked me up on coffee pretty good. And they seemed kind of disappointed because it was like the perfect car, And you let this guy, with a kind of a pistolero hat, it's a kind of like round black felt hat with a kind of turquoise and silver you know, it's like a band, but it's metal, you know. And he's up, you know, he had like his vest on and everything like that, and he was like a stage Mexican. I mean, he wasn't Mexican, but he was like, you know, we were in show business. So we were Raimundo y Tomás. And anyway, so that used to happen to me a lot. But, you know, the thing is, if I get pulled over by the police, I'm, you know, no alcohol, drugs, no guns in the car, maybe some guitars. If I'm high on anything, it's coffee. That's my drug of choice. There are a lot of people like me, actually, in the guitar business. Anyway, I thought it was kind of funny, actually, but I got pulled over in that car by the Cedar Rapids police, too. Once again, letting Raimundo out of the car and at a Mexican restaurant we were just at, and I was going home, and flashing lights, and they pulled me over, and there I am again, you know. I hadn't had anything to drink at all except water, you know, and I probably had I was probably full of beans. I think they give you a free dinner, you know, at El Grande, you know, with the tortillas and the beans. And so I just, you know, anyway. Those were the days. I actually played a couple of gigs with Raimundo last summer. He lives up in Decorah. He was living in Decorah for a number of years, and then he moved to Colorado for a while. He moved back to Decorah, and I think he became a Spanish teacher, which was interesting because he had a master's degree in English education, and you know, a bit of an accent and everything, but very fluent in English and of course Spanish. He had to learn how to be how to be a Spanish teacher because he was trained to be an English teacher. So even though he could speak Spanish, he didn't know how to teach it to, you know, people who only spoke English. But anyway, played a couple gigs. It was interesting, but it's not the same as it was. We used to go 3 nights a week and just go table to table in Mexican restaurants, and you know, people give us money to serenade them, and you know, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday every week, we'd make like $90-something or something like that. Makes your taxes a mess, but you know, and you know, when you got small children, I remember this because my kid who's 23 now was was a baby when this all started, you know, or maybe he wasn't even quite born yet. I think actually he wasn't quite born yet, and we both had his kid was his daughter's born in July, mine was born in November. I think we started in the late summer of 1994. And for about 3 years we did a lot of this, going around bothering people at their tables. Quite an education. So if you ever think that I'm one of those like hoity-toity academic musicians, no, I'm low rent. Anyway, I'm not reminiscing. I'm sorry about that. But some people think it's interesting. Not many, but some people think it's interesting.
Well, didn't you bring to college? Was it a banjo or a ukulele?
I've brought banjos and ukuleles.
Yes,
and
to some show or...
faculty recitals.
Yeah,
I've
that's
played
it.
banjo and ukulele at different times at faculty recitals.
Yeah, that proves you're not stuffy. You're cool.
Yeah. I had a gig at Co, but not for Co. It was at the Sinclair Auditorium on Friday. Like 160-some kids behind me on risers on the stage. It's an honor choir, so there's like from a lot of the schools around the area. There's a whole bunch of different schools. And and they're playing Banjo Sam. This is my big deal because I didn't know. There were some problems with the score, quite honestly. It was written in standard notation, and almost no banjo players can read standard notation. I probably said this before, but I asked James over there at the Musicians Pro Shop, how many banjo players do you know who can read standard notation? He said, 1. Me, because I'm just nerdy enough. I mean, you have to be pretty nerdy to do that. So, and anyway, but the problem with the score was there was chords that were impossible to play. Like, okay, one had a D and an E in it, which I can do on the guitar. like that because I have. Okay, the banjo only goes down to D, like a ukulele, right?
Right.
Or a tenor banjo in Chicago tuning. So to play, like, you can't play a D and an E at the same time unless you have a lower strings to make it. That was one problem. Also, there were some C's and some B's
Oh.
in the banjo part, and it only goes down to D. And then there are other things like, say, well, that's going to be really hard to play that thing, you know. So I looked at videos of people doing it, and they're doing wildly different versions of it.
Oh.
Oh, they're faking it. So I faked it,
Good.
but based closely on the score, and I also looked at the piano part. And I was just saying, I was 3 weeks of coughing, and I was, you know, so I kind of procrastinated, and I also had a gig the night before in Marion, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was kind of a big deal. That's right. I've got to talk to you and Aaron about that. But anyway, so I was worried about that gig, so I didn't really get around to it until I was going to practice the night after, the Marion, that night, a little bit more, because I looked at it a little bit, but this is not as easy as I thought. And then, but then I just fell asleep. I just go crash out. So the next day I worked at it, you know, all day. It was Friday. That's the only thing I had to do. And we had a rehearsal in the early afternoon, and it didn't go all that well, but I kind of pulled it off. And then I worried about the rest of the day. And then when that show came, I was okay. I got it all out there. It was fine. If I made any mistakes, nobody noticed. And all these little kids were really, you know, everybody's all grateful and everything. I got all these, like, thank you cards and stuff.
Wow.
And all these kids, these are like 10 to 12-year-olds, you know. Some of them were high-fiving me and said, I've never heard of banjo before. Things like that, you know. So I got to be the banjoist. And the best thing about it is, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm back to Tuscan Moon and regular life. But anyway, so. I'm not sure if sorry. Thing is, I start my sound check with an in-tune guitar, and then it goes out of tune for the first half hour, and because of the lights or something, I don't know. go back that loop later. I got Troy here now.
Okay. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, put a camera on that guy. Yeah, Commando.
Yes.
Is it now? What's your handle? Is it Troy Commando, or what's your?
Oh, my DJ name is DJ Commando. That's what I
DJ Commando.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I've been hanging around with you for a few weeks. You're like part of my crew for now, but probably someday you'll get you get too prestigious to to actually work on my show anymore. But
oh, you got to always remember where you came from, though.
That's right. Yeah.
Gotta do
it's like
that.
sooner or later we all work at Tom's Guitar Show, because I mean, you've only been here for a little while. So you know how to work everything. You know what you're doing, and then
Right.
And then you get to know other people. They can be on your crew.
Hey, that works for me.
That's what we call it, paying your dues.
Right.
Yeah. Back when I started out here, I was on like all kinds of crews and stuff. I was underemployed, and I wanted to make a Tom's Guitar Show. So that was a long time ago. So
nice.
Yeah, how long ago was 1988? Oh, 30 years ago.
Yeah, about that. Almost, yeah. Oh, it is now, yeah. I guess it is 2018.
You know what I'm saying? Is I'm getting pretty old here. PATV, I've given you the best years of my life. Anyway, so what's up? What's going on, man?
Well, not too much. I'm actually happy to be here. Love PATV so far that I've been here, and I'm ready to do some show. I'm ready to do a show here, and just learn a lot more about the TV station. And I'm also on the board, and I feel pretty good about that, and ready to really get the name out here about for PATV. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think we're going to go into an interesting future here, because I mean our whole contract thing is going to change radically in August, which is that's coming a lot closer than it was.
Right, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, and that's how. Yeah, but I was thinking, like cross-platform and stuff, because cable TV is great and everything, but I think a lot of people don't watch cable TV that much anymore.
No, they have these things called Fire Sticks and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. We've been working on trying to get my YouTube thing, back up and running, and I know people watch it in different places, but I know a lot of people watch TV on their phones. So
right. But you still got YouTube on your phone though, so you can always
sure
watch YouTube on there.
And there are other platforms and apps and things like that.
Right.
I don't know much about it, because I'm a rebel, with the phone thing. So I got I got me a $10 flip phone.
Hey.
And if you want to talk to me, I can say hello, and we can talk for a while. I was talking to somebody. I talked to Kelsey, who's on our board today, for like an hour on my $10 phone, and I buy my minutes and stuff. But see, I'm not involved in the phone culture. And I know it's probably wrong. And I was doing Facebook for a little while, but I quit. I'm doing Twitter a little bit, but I know I see everybody else. I mean, everybody else. I'm playing restaurant, like older people, older than me, even. They're sitting there. They're on their phones all the time. They're showing each other pictures and stuff like that. And I think, I'm missing out on that. But I've got a Guild Bluesbird.
Hey, I know. I like that guitar, man. It's pretty nice.
I thought so.
Right. I'd give you my phone for that guitar.
Yeah, no, I have both about $800, something like that. Anyway, never mind. Okay, so I get my own phone. Anyway,
there you go.
I got $10. I'll
get another phone.
So, but you got a radio station.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's a KNHB radio right now. We are online, and we have a mobile app on your phone too as well. So you can definitely listen to us 24 hours a day. I have some different shows on there too as well, and still trying to work the avenue. We started it back in May, and so far so good. I guess things, when you start a business, it's slow. It's pretty slow when you start out, but hopefully here this year we can pick it up and get some things going with it, and hopefully we can get some merging and get some partners going on with it too as well.
So what sort of programming are you doing there?
A little bit everything. It's urban open format, so we play anything. We play hip hop, R&B, but we play top 40, old school, a little bit of rock on there too as well, and classic stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit for everybody. It's not just for not just for us, the young people. It's for everybody too as well. I got church on there too as well on Sundays, church music, stuff like that, and got some blues and jazz. And so yeah, got to make it versatile.
Yeah, probably a good idea, yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially these days, you got to have the versatile because people are tired of hearing the same song over and over and over.
Yeah, I don't know, I've talked to Mr. Skopinski back there about it, but like listening to the regular commercial radio stations, when there's a lot of ads all the time, it's and also kind of offensive ones that are, you want them to stop, but also the programming now is not always what you want, you got
right.
Some of them doing the classic rock thing, and some are doing the contemporary country thing, but I don't know if I don't really want to listen to them,
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's a buddy of mine. We was at work the other day. Actually, it was about a month or so ago, and he's like, "Why don't they make a station like a country station instead of playing the new country stuff? Play the old school country stuff that we used to listen to back in the day." They say they don't have one of those.
I think that'd be good. I know a lot of I like older people, like musicians,
right?
Who and people who are real country fans. I'm not a real country fan, but I played in pickup country. I know how to play country, I guess. I can do it. I have my own humorous story about being a substitute bass player in a country band for a few weekends. That's kind of funny, but anyway, so I can do it. I understand it. By the way, I spent one summer just really like digging in to make sure I could play country guitar and stuff like that. I had this dog, big old floppy-eared dog, and I was living in a mobile home. Who are we kidding? It's a trailer. Okay, so I like classical music. I'm playing Bach lute suites on the 10-string classical guitar. This is kind of Baroque music, right? German stuff from well, he died in 1750. Okay, so it's like before that, and the dog's kind of nonplussed about that. Contemporary finger style, still okay, I start playing country music, and the dog comes around like, yeah, I like that. And this is like classic country.
Right.
I think that's dog music. You see, that's what you
basically.
Yeah. So, but I know that people who really love the country music, they hate contemporary country a lot of times.
Right. Exactly.
They've changed it. It's like a lot of times it's like rock with a twang, and it's like I think there's some, of course, the roots stuff and some, I think like. All these people we used to do a Wagon Wheel, Old Crow Medicine Show. Darius Rucker did it too.
Yes.
Yeah, but Wagon Wheel came out with it, I guess, a few years before, and they had banjo in the thing, and they're like roots stuff. And I think Darius Rucker did a really good job of it too. But with the banjo and stuff like that, that's sort of like roots music thing, which is another sort of thing. So that's a continuation of the country and folk, but I don't know.
Yeah, my fiance, she's a really big Taylor Swift fan, but I'm just kidding. That's okay. Because she doesn't like Taylor Swift at all. She's a country girl. She loves country.
I see.
But anytime like a Taylor Swift song come on, I'm always making fun of her, talking about this is your song, ain't it? This is your girl, ain't it?
Well, I was going to give you my sympathy before I found out you were kidding me.
Right.
That's all right.
She probably smacked me if she heard me say that too.
Hope she's not watching.
She might be though.
Yeah, it's probably streaming.
Probably.
It'll probably be on YouTube in a little while. Yeah, I know something about the industry, the guitar shop thing. I don't work in one, don't have one anymore, but I used to, and I hang around it. But apparently, the like electric guitars and stuff, the sales are just slowly going down. The boys are less interested in being like well, maybe Guitar Hero killed it because they made a joke out of being a Guitar Hero.
Right.
And one guy was saying that, what do you like? I said, well, I like Eric Clapton. And they said, well, yeah, Eric Clapton, the guy was gray hair. He said, well, Eric Clapton was old when I was young, So it's like some young person. So there really isn't like a guitar thing, except that the little girls are buying acoustic guitars, pink ones and stuff like that, because they all want to sound like Taylor Swift.
Right.
And I thought, okay. But of course, the whole thing about wanting to have like an elaborate, pointy electric guitar and stick your tongue out and
right.
Never appealed to me anyway. So
No.
But so it's like, I mean, guitar is a kind of continuum. It really hit the U.S. in the early 1800s, and became a thing. We're very much a guitar country, But I don't know, man. Country's fine. I would prefer.
My favorite guitarist is Yngwie Malmsteen.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I've actually watched like some live footage of Yngwie, and he kills it. I mean, like you say, with the classic and then the rock, and he does his thing with the guitar. He really does. And I know people are, people don't like. Okay, I like Ted Nugent. I'm sorry, with his music, I like Ted. I don't care what he does, how he feels, whatever.
Like
that's
a big
him.
Fan of his politics, or
that's
going out on stage with 2 machine guns,
right?
Exactly,
right. But his music sounds good to me. It's just like Michael Jackson. Okay, a lot of people don't like Michael Jackson, but I like his music. That's just me. But I don't come to see him or talk to him about politics. But if he says, "Hey, let me play some music for you," let's go. Stranglehold is my favorite song by him.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's also like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani.
Yes.
Good. And then beyond that, there's like jazz people like Joe Pass, really good, and even Earl Klugh. I don't know if you know him. He's nylon string jazz, really sweet stuff. I really like him. But then there's another sort of style. You got like Michael Hedges, who was finger style steel string, but a lot of like tapping stuff, and kind of revolutionized things. So he died. I guess he was going back from a gig in his Porsche when it was got a lot of curves there in Northern California. I guess he went off the road. They didn't find him for a few days, So it kind of ruined everything. But yeah, I like people who can really, really play,
Right.
I like people who have like deep thoughts and kind of put them into music.
Right.
And the other thing about like there's a sort of singer-songwriter thing that is okay, but maybe the music isn't really the part of it. It's their words, it's their personality, how they present themselves. Maybe they got some personal problems they want to share. For other people who have those personal problems, which is a therapy. But I guess I'm more focused on the music, because if you listen to really good music, like a Beethoven symphony or something, it's deep and wide and huge, and there's a lot more to it than like, my mommy didn't pick me up enough, and and now I've got issues.
No.
Right.
Just got to feel it, feel the vibe.
Yeah. It's sort of I'm interested in lots of different kinds of music, but you know what I mean? It's like, I want it to be kind of deep and not necessarily like about words.
Right.
I learned to really like Bob Dylan a lot. This is my first sort of foray into stuff that wasn't classical music, and when I was like late teens, and I learned a whole bunch of his songs. I used to sing in bars, for years. That was my job, and he had did good things with words and just guitar parts. Were interesting, really interesting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I think that, the singer-songwriter thing is like a different discipline for me.
Right.
So, anyway.
Right. Because I like Al Di Meola.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. You can...
yes, yeah. I know a little bit about music. I'm an R&B guy, but... as a kid, I grew up listening to like all type of different music, like anywhere from gospel to like say the jazz to the funk to classic rock to all that type of stuff. So like anywhere from like Ace Frehley to Chick Corea, those those types of people. So I got a chance to listen to all type of different music and enjoyed it at a young age. So it was really cool.
I think if it's good, I grew up with a lot of classical music. I played in orchestra. And I also played in the jazz band. We're doing mostly swing, but I played string bass.
Right.
So it's a pretty good place, thumping along the bass, and just as a kid, teenager. And so starting when I was 12, and then I played guitar in the jazz band in high school. But And I get that. And but I also played in the symphony, you know, so we do like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and stuff. And that go the all-state ones. It's like, you know, some of the better musicians from all over the state, you know, go to Des Moines, huge thing, you know, all those kids up there. And I was like really exciting being in a huge orchestra like that. I didn't go that way though when I got out of high school. I, you know, went the guitar way because that was, you know, but you know, there was all stuff that was interesting to me, like the bluegrass idiom, you know, funk especially, and I have played, you know, in funk situations a lot.
Nice.
Actually, I got Marcus Perkins. He offered me a job in Groove Ship funk band. Mm-hmm. But the only problem was he was the bass player. He was looking for a guitar player, and he thought of the kind of gig, you know, like loading up a cube van in East Moline at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and they count out the money, you get $45. Now, if I could have been the bass player, I probably would have done it. But as a guitar player, I couldn't, you know, because like I can make better money and be home by, you know, 11 o'clock, playing like, you know.
Tom?
Yeah.
Right.
May I just poke in here for a
Sure.
second? When Troy mentioned Chick Corea a few seconds ago, Donna and I both went, yeah.
Yeah, Chick Corea's great. He's still doing it. As far as I know, isn't he? Yeah. No, all that stuff's great. I mean, all this stuff's great. I mean, I like Parliament because I'm a bass player too.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And I just like that's classic.
That is.
You know, and I really like funk. And I was in there. They were doing it's a Wednesday night jam session at the Yacht Club. I went down there one night and we were doing a lot of funk. And I think just like playing some funk and kind of being on the inside of funk a little bit will make everything you play better. If you're a classical musician, because you have that thump, you know.
Right.
So it was blues and country.
Right.
Like Chet Atkins, he could play.
Yeah. I like B.B. King too. B.B. King's cool.
B.B. King is great.
Yeah.
And like the thing he sang really well, and he could deliver a song really well. And then he had that one kind of line. He never played any chords. But he had other musicians do that for him. Mm-hmm. But he always played those lines, and it was just like went along parallel with his singing and his whole thing. And he would just like, you know, and you can learn a lot from listening to B.B. King. He's pretty humble about it too. I've heard him in interviews and stuff. You know, but anyway, that's what I.
There you go.
I don't know. There's a lot of music out there. Make some new music every day.
There you go.
I could make some music right now, couldn't I, if I wanted?
Cool. Do that.
I just pushed that button. It's flashing. I forget what my loop was. I was making up some sort of loop. I don't know what it was, but I'll figure it out pretty quick because I forgot what I was making. I'm using my Ditto looper. You know, so
yeah.
So I was that's what I was playing before we started talking about this. I can tell you that's A minor, and I'm slightly out of tune. You really wanted me to give you that note. I go, oh, please.
Yeah.
Ah.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, I like that. It makes you feel, right down in your soul and give you goosebumps. I love music like that.
Yeah. Well, there's I love a lot of kinds of music. I guess if it's good, I really like it. There's stuff that, like, when I hear it, I feel something.
Right.
There's other stuff. There's like the one thing about the contemporary country that people criticize, and I've noticed this, is it's a formula. It's like really kind of processed, formulaic.
Right.
It's kind of like, unless you're used to it, like you get the McDonald's hamburger here or, across the country somewhere else, and it'd be exactly the same thing.
Right.
And, some people like that sort of thing, and I just like, the one guy somebody took several country songs and lined them all up, in the screen so you could see the sound waves, and then he put them together, and they found they were like interchangeable. You could go switch from one to the next one. The next one, they were like the same thing.
Right.
Exactly. So it's like a formula. So I don't know. I like it more. I think get your food from the natural food store.
There you go.
The.
Just like free. Just feel free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what's your show going to be about?
Well, my show is going to be basically, we're going to have a DJ. We're going to talk to local artists and bands. It doesn't matter the genre. And then also we're going to talk to community people too as well. Like, say, for instance, like the American Cancer Society, or people that have certain events coming up like the Freedom Fest or St. Patty's Day, or, different things of that nature, just to, see what they got going on and how people can get involved and give back to the community, that type of stuff. So we can all network with one another and, make things happen within our communities and stuff. And actually, even being in Cedar Rapids, trying to make it from here to CR to Quad Cities to Des Moines, just make it an all-around world.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I've been wanting to get more regional. I mean, I live here, but I work in Cedar Rapids a lot.
Right.
And it's like not that far away. Right. And the Quad Cities aren't that far. If you look at like 70,000 people here, but if you add Cedar Rapids, you got a lot more people, and if you add the quads, then you're well over 1 million.
Right.
So, there's stuff going on, and I used to play in the Quad Cities quite a bit, and it's like an hour or less to get there.
Exactly.
And if you're like in LA, that's nothing. I mean, it's for a commute, so.
Not at all. And plus, Iowa City's like right there, so you can shoot that way or back behind you to the Quads, and then Cedar Rapids, maybe up to Waterloo a little bit.
Yeah.
And, it's not that far. It's pretty cool.
Right. Well, we got interstate highways.
There we go.
As long as you got a car. It's a long walk. I tried to walk home from Cedar Rapids one night. It was a long story, but
oh, jeez.
I got stuck in the back of a car and ended up at a party, and I realized the party was like really, really bad, and so I called the crisis center, and the guy said I should. I said, well, I only got $4 left, though. And what should you do? He said, hitchhike, he said.
Oh, geez.
So I didn't know where I was. I was in the middle of Apartmentville somewhere, so I called the cab. Said, get me as close to 380 as you can. So I walked up there, and he got me toward the ramp, and then I just, walked, no money in my pocket. I would have gotten more than 17 miles if I hadn't been doing a lot of it backwards with my thumb sticking out, but you can't get it. Ride at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning on I-380, especially if you look a little scruffy. Oh, I got 2 minutes left. Okay. Well, anyway, Tuscan Moon, I'll be there this weekend, Friday, Saturday. I'd make a reservation. It's been really busy, which is great, for this time of year. Restaurants going out of business. My usual Thursday night gig at the Northside Bistro is done because the bistro is done. But I still got my Friday, Saturday at Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna. Watch out for the horses and buggies, and watch your step when you're walking across the street, too, because the horses, never mind. Horse pollution.
Nasty.
Amish, Anyway, I'll be back next week. I come back every week,